decided to switch it up this year. After you're listening to me tonight, you may all resoundingly say, hey, let's go back and do it the other way. So we'll see. I just wanted tonight to share with you the vision for this school year and for Swift Creek going forward. This is going to be a fantastic year. There is such a powerful, positive vibe in all of our classrooms, among all of our teachers. Teachers want to be here, and that is the first key to your children wanting to be here. When they come in, seeing the smiling faces, all of our teachers are out in the hallways every morning as the students come down the hallway, greeting them. You couldn't ask for a better start to your day than have 10 adults lining a hallway saying good morning to you. So, we came up with, after much pain and struggle, this beautiful phrase, built for a bright future. And that truly represents what we're about this year. Our 85th anniversary is coming up, and I'll mention that at the end. And also, we have this great little renovation / please knock it down and start over building project that will be starting this year with the visioning. And so we wanted to incorporate that idea of we are building something new, and at the same time looking forward to great days ahead, recognizing that we are already a wonderful institution with a rich, rich history. So, built for a bright future, you'll see that in several places. We have a lot of new staff members with us this year, and many of you, your children are in their classes or are working with those people. This is our district's blueprint. This is a new infographic. They call the standards in the 4 C's the North Star. The 4 C's are collaboration, communication, creativity, and critical thinking. Yes, I know. That's the first time I've ever gotten that right. But we are focused on teaching the standards. What is it that your child is supposed to learn? That's what we're about. We do that through providing dynamic learning experiences. How do we create those experiences? We're guided by data in our professional learning teams. And all of this is undergirded by MTSS, which is our multi-tiered system of support, meaning that every child that walks into Swift Creek is instructed in the level that they need to be. So based on this, we wrote our school goal. By June 2018, college career ready student proficiency will increase from 52.1 to 73.6 as measured by the integrated reading test, and 60.8 to 77.9 according to the math test. Now, beginning points here was from data that is now 2 years old, and this is a 2-year plan, and so in the spring of this year, our staff will be working to create a new plan. Now, you may all be wondering, well, how did we do this year? Did we come close to this? And unfortunately, we're not allowed to release that. My understanding is that later this month, or maybe early in October, the data will become official, and we can share it with everyone. But I will tell you that we were disappointed. It was not a positive growth in many areas. Now, there were some great, great bright spots, but at the same time, it wasn't what we wanted. But we're going to get there. And you might ask, how will we get there? What do we need to do? My belief, and the belief of our staff, is that we had already created a plan that's going to get us to where we need to be. And it's a two-pronged approach, dynamic learning experiences, and different communities. So we're going to stay focused on the plan that we wrote in spring of this year, actually, is when we retooled the plan. By instructing every student at the appropriate level and challenge them to stretch their thinking through engaged learning, differentiation, and dynamic learning experiences with key approach and achievement of our students. Dynamic learning experiences, we have a committee that wrote this, is a cross-curricular, problem-based, and allows students to take ownership of their learning. What this means is, in our classrooms, you will not see, this is the silo for math, this is the silo for science, this is where the time period where we talk about reading, but you see a blending of those together. Because if you think about it, that's how you live your life. Your life incorporates reading and math and science and social studies and art all at the same time in many different situations. And so if we live that way, we problem-based learning allows students to create their own personalized learning path with open-ended problems. We have, how many of you have done a locked room adventure? You've got to go. It's awesome. Here at Swift Creek, we have a locked box adventure. It's called Breakout EDU. And our fifth grade students were the first ones who got to experience this last week. It is a locked box. There are clues around the room, and they have to work collaboratively and use their critical thinking skills to get open all of those locks to get inside the boxes. It is a wonderful experience, and it's just one of the examples of the types of things that we want to provide for our students. And then differentiated instruction is tailoring the educational experiences to the strengths and weaknesses of students. In a fourth grade classroom, you're going to have students that are reading 2 grade levels behind. You'll have students that are reading 2 grade levels ahead. But every student in that class has to learn about erosion. A differentiated classroom is one where the teacher instructs the educational experiences to meet the needs of every student in that class. And at the same time, they all have access to that grade level material. If you just, on your way out, look at the bulletin board that's on the outside of the media center. We are focused here on being college career ready. In that infographic that I showed you, in the middle of it was graduation. Wake County's goal is that by 2020, 95% of our students will graduate college career ready. So if that is the goal for our county, we cannot expect anything less for our students here at Swift Creek. It seems early. I know some of you have kindergartners, and I'm talking to you about college, but hopefully you've already started saving for it too, because that's not getting any cheaper. But we want you to feel confident that what we're doing with your students on a day-to-day basis is going to prepare them to be successful in their career, in their college. As they go on even to the middle school, we want to send them to Dillard or wherever else they go, fully prepared and confident to be successful. And so we're starting in a very small way. There are pennants out there that represent all the places that we have gone to college. Especially that one. OH.
IO.
Yes, we got a couple in here. Nice. But it's really just engaging our students in the conversation about what a college is. Some of our teachers here who have already had those discussions, they found that the students, they weren't really sure what a college even was. And so we're getting them thinking about that. Another great thing, where's the dads? There's a couple here tonight. Yes. Watchdogs. It stands for Dads of Great Students. And what this is a dad, a granddad, an uncle will sign up for a day. A lot of times the dads will sign up for to come in on the day of their child's birthday or somewhere around there. They spend the entire day with us at Swift Creek, and they leave looking like a deer caught in the headlights. But we have a schedule where they'll spend time with each grade level, and then during the lunch and recess period, they'll be in the cafeteria interacting with kids. They'll be out on the playground playing with them. We need positive male role models in our society. That's a soapbox of mine for some reason, but we got to have it. We got to have men who will invest in the lives of our children, and that's what the Watchdog program does. So, ladies, tell the men who are involved in Swift Creek, and gentlemen, mark your calendars for Tuesday, September 26th. We're going to have a great kickoff night with some pizza and drinks. We're encouraging those dads to bring their child that night. You'll hear about the program, and bring your calendars, because this will be an opportunity for you to sign up for a day to be a watchdog. And then, Built for a Bright Future, our 85th anniversary. It's amazing that a school has been around for 85 years and still have that lovely community feel that Swift Creek does. And so we're going to celebrate that on October the 7th. We want you all to come out, invite everybody. It will be over here. Am I pointing the right direction? Yeah. We'll be over here at the park. There are food trucks, there's music, there's games, there's all kinds of memorabilia that's going to be out there. You get to cruise through the decades and look at the yearbooks and the pictures and the bits and pieces from the 1930s all the way up to present day. It is going to be a wonderful day. And your students are also learning about a particular decade in their grade level as well. So that is the end of all I had to say, just to give you a taste of the great things that's happening this year. And I'm going to turn it over to our assistant principal, Ms. Hoke, right now. And she is going to talk to you about something else that is just a marvelous piece of the school year.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, I should say. Good evening. So he mentioned the word positive, and we did have a great positive start, but we had an even positive week because we kicked off a movement, not a program, but a movement called the Positivity Project. And in a few minutes, I'm going to allow you to hear one of the co-founders because I cannot do this movement any justice as he can, but I am going to kind of tell you exactly how we landed here. When Mr. Probst, I was going to say Dr. Probst, but when Mr. Probst and I arrived, one of the things that we kept hearing from the staff as well as from you, the parents, was that you were missing a crucial component, and that component was character education. And so through research, I started kind of looking at some programs, and it was kind of through social media, and this particular movement kept popping up. So this summer, Mr. Probst, myself, and with the help of Mrs. Chadwick, we all sat down together, we all came with different programs. I did not say anything about this one, I didn't lobby it for any one particular reason, and they didn't lobby theirs or anything like that. We just kind of put everything down on the table, and we literally went through each particular program that we were very interested in. And this particular program was the one that caught our eyes. It wasn't a Gia Hope program, it wasn't a Daryl Probst program, it wasn't a Miss Chadwick program. It was truly something that we were all interested in. But we didn't want to stop there because, again, it wasn't about us. It's about our staff. It's about our kids. So then we presented this particular, not program, movement to the staff. And we wanted them to kind of get a feel for it. And they did kind of like we did. They fell in love with it. This particular movement focuses on two key areas, two very important areas. It focuses on relationships. And relationships are the #1 indicator for success in life. And then it focuses on character. And character is what? It's the essence of who you are. This program, I can't say program, see, we're so programmed to say program, but it's a movement. This particular movement focuses in on 24 character traits. We all have them, but some of them are just a little bit stronger than others. Now, for example, my #1 character trait is bravery. That means I'm going to fight for your babies, okay, just so you know. But each of you have all 24, just as myself. So I'm going to allow you to hear from Mike Irwin to hear about this wonderful and positive movement. I think you're going to like it. I know. I'm that positive about it. And I hope these speakers are set up. If not, Ms. Wheels is still in the house. Okay, thank you. Because technology is not my friend.
We're a nonprofit organization with the mission to empower your students to build strong relationships by recognizing, appreciating, and exemplifying the character strengths in us all. Now, we are not a program. We do not have a curriculum. We're a nonprofit. We partner with schools, and we provide you with the training, the resources, the knowledge, and the confidence to be able to teach positive psychology's 24 character strengths to your students, to teach your students about the importance of building good relationships and understanding the idea that other people matter. We really put the power of this strategy into your hands. You bring it to life in a way that works for you. You make the Positivity Project your own in your classrooms and within your school. And when you do that this school year, you're going to have a tremendous impact on your students and hopefully also on your own lives. I hope you have a great school year. Thank you so much for being a part of the Positivity Project and leading the Other People Matter movement. I'd like to take a minute now and just share a little bit more detail about the Positivity Project strategy. As I talked about, our mission is to empower America's youth to build strong relationships. But how do we get there? It really starts with the consistent exposure to the 24 character strength language and concepts. You need to have the language and know the words, but you also need to know what they mean. Why? Two things happen when you are consistently exposed to this. Number one, your knowledge about yourself, your confidence in who you are goes up. You have the ability and the words and the knowledge to be able to recognize the good in yourself. At the same time, those words and that knowledge helps you to recognize and to see the good in other people. It's very easy for us to look for the flaws and the shortcomings in other people, but we know that when exposed to these positive words, words like integrity and fairness and forgiveness and humor and humility, that we have the ability to better understand other people, especially people that are different from us. Now what you have is the formula for stronger relationships. When I know myself better, when I know you better, we're just going to have a better relationship when that relationship is based upon our character strengths and not who's the most attractive or the most popular or the fastest or the smartest kid in school. Now, this is all important because not only do these stronger relationships have an impact on people's lives and on their well-being, but it also shapes the culture and the sense of community in your school and in your life. So these better relationships, little bit by little bit, these micro interactions that just get a little bit better, it actually helps to build a more positive culture in your building and in your classrooms where students are having more respect for each other and they're just building better relationships with each other but also with their teachers. The Positivity Project's mission is grounded in the research of positive psychology, which states that there are 4 pillars that we need to move through to live a satisfactory and fulfilled life. The first pillar is character strengths. How well do we know ourselves and recognize the good that we have within us? The second pillar, positive relationships. We know that relationships are the #1 predictor of life satisfaction. In fact, this is why our entire mission is grounded in the idea of empowering America's youth to build strong relationships. So that second pillar of building positive relationships is so important. We know that if our students can build relationships based upon character instead of who's the most attractive or who's the fastest or who's the smartest, that they are going to have the framework for building strong positive relationships. Now, relationships are so important because it sets the conditions for the third pillar, which is positive experiences and emotions. It is absolutely possible to have these positive experiences in life on our own, reading a book on our own, or going for a walk on our own. However, we know that a majority of life's positive experiences occur in the presence of and with other people, with family, with friends, with teammates, with classmates. And that's why those positive experiences are so important in life. The last pillar, the fourth one, is positive institutions. These are organizations that we belong to that help to facilitate our development of our character. They set the conditions for us to build good relationships and have as many of these positive experiences and emotions in our life that we can possibly have to live a satisfactory life. Positive psychology defines character as the family of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that are recognized across all cultures for the value that they cultivate in individuals and in society. So, in other words, character is not just what you do. Character is what you think, what you feel, and what you do. It's the combination of all 3 of those. Sometimes we lead with our thoughts. Sometimes we lead with our actions. But regardless, character and developing good character means shaping a person's thoughts, their feelings, and their behaviors. One of the reasons the Positivity Project exists is to address a couple of concerning trends that we've noticed over the past 30 years from the research, and that is the rise of narcissism and the decrease in empathy. Since they've been tracking this data back in the 1980s, we've seen over a 30% rise in narcissism, which is this focus on oneself. And at the same time, a 40% decrease in empathy, which is the ability to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. In many ways, these are flip sides of the same coin. by teaching students about the character strengths in themselves and in others and helping them to build an other people matter mindset, we know we can counter this so that we can reverse these trends where students are more empathetic and they're less narcissistic and focusing on themselves less because they're focusing on other people more. While partnering with the Positivity Project is an important thing to do, it's also a smart thing to do. Researchers from MIT and Oxford over the past decade have been studying what skills will be in demand for the economy of the future. And we know that one of those skills is working together on a team, group dynamics. The more effectively that your students, as they become people in the workforce, know and interact with people from all over the world in the economy, the more effective they will be at their job at building relationships with people and working together on a team, which will then also give them the capacity to frame and to solve very complex and open-ended problems together. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you've got those good group dynamics. How you build those group dynamics is by teaching your students to be able to see the character strengths in themselves, in each other, and to focus on the importance of relationships in their lives, both personally and professionally.
So I couldn't have said that better than he did. What sold us was when they talked about the statistic on the narcissism and the empathy that got us. That got us. Other people do matter. As educators, yes, our number one goal is obviously about the academics, but we have the obligation to also educate the whole child. Your children are with us all day, all day. In some cases, they're with us more than they're with you. And so for us, Mr. Probst, he, if I may speak for you, if that's okay, because you're like, go ahead and do it. He and I have had a lot of conversations. And one of those conversations is about making sure that as we take this journey to a bright future, we want to make sure that we take that journey down the path where we are teaching our kids about, you know what, as you're walking down that path, as you're walking down the hallway, as you're interacting with your teachers, as you're interacting with your peers, that you're learning how to speak with each other, that you're learning how to treat each other. I heard a young girl say the other day, she says, you know, it's all about the golden rule. That stopped me in my tracks because we don't hear that according to these statistics, and some of that went back to from the 1980s. I can only imagine what it's like now, and it's scary. 7 minutes was a little long, and I'm not going to apologize for that because you know what? You need to know what we're doing here in this building. You need to understand. But this is where we're going with the Positivity Project. We hope that you will help us to embrace it. You will hear some of this at home. We are very, very excited about it. This is a rollout in which this is a big, big movement. We're going to probably take it at a very slow to moderate pace because it's one in which you will hear it is lit, it's on fire, it's dynamic, it's a lot of different things. I am hoping that we can get this young man here at this school. I am hoping that we can go to him someday to take a field trip. But this is where we are with Character Ed and relationships. So we started out the kickoff this week, and next week we're going to actually start it with those character strengths. So please have those conversations with your children. Right behind you are those character strengths right there. And we will be going into them, and they are outlined purposely and intentionally. They are designed so that at different parts of the calendar year, they are appropriately programmed so that it makes a lot of sense. December has things that makes a lot of sense for December. Thanksgiving has a lot of sense for Thanksgiving, and so forth and so on. So that's the Positivity Project. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns? All righty.
I'll let y'all set up.
Okay, yes.
One of the first people I met when I came here back in October was, of all people, the psychologist. And in many schools, the psychologist is that shadowy figure who goes in and out. You never really know them. But Dr. Kristen Lewis is a very important part of Swift Creek, and I love it that she took the initiative. She came to us and said, hey, do we have a way that I could talk to parents about MTSS. And so, Dr. Lewis,
Thank you,
thank you
Mr.
for being
Probst.
here.
That
You're
was
wonderful.
Very nice introduction. Thank you. I'm excited tonight to talk to you for just a few minutes. I promise I won't keep you much longer. I know we've all had a very long day. But I wanted to present to you tonight some information on what we call multi-tiered system of supports. And as a parent myself of a school-age child, I have a toddler as well, but I have a third grader over at Yates. I get information home periodically, and I think to myself, I know what this means because I'm in it every day. I'm in the trenches every day with this information, but there are a lot of parents that may not really understand what it means if they get a Tier 2 plan sent home, that kind of thing. So I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about what we're doing here at Swift Creek, as well as the county and statewide initiatives with MTSS. So, some frequently heard words related to MTSS. You may have heard some of these. You can take a look here. And so part of what I want to do tonight is really help you put some of these puzzle pieces together. These are, I won't really call them buzzwords, but they're words that you hear floating around from time to time. So, multi-tiered system of supports. In brief, it's a data-driven process, and it really allows teachers to focus in on student needs by using data to more effectively make decisions. So teachers are collaborating within teams. And this is off the internet describing it, and it says the idea is to get each and every student, those with profound needs, those who are exceptionally gifted, and all those in between, what he or she requires to be successful. So I thought that was just a really nice introduction, if you will. So the big picture, so really the goal is that every district in North Carolina will be implementing MTSS. Wake County is rolling out what's called a cohort model, and led by DPI. In Swift Creek, we entered cohort in 2015-16. So entering cohort means that we have small teams that attend professional development over at Crossroads. We have an MTSS coach that supports implementation. And then we take that information back to the school and we help teachers really make database decisions. And the goal really with entering cohort and for every school eventually, I think by the end of next year, to be an MTSS school is to promote consistency in the county. So we want a child that's at a school in one part of the county that may be struggling in reading to have a really strong support system with MTSS, the same as a child in another side of the county that's also struggling in that same area. So it's really about equity. You can see where I'm going. All right, so the 3 tiers of MTSS, I'm just going to briefly describe them. And again, this is for academics and behavior. MTSS is really, they call it a marriage of academics and behavior together. So we stack services as we're needed, as the need gets more intensive. This is really meant to be a fluid, flowing sort of pyramid here. And what that means is that a child's not getting stuck at a certain level, like stuck at the Tier 2 strategic support for their whole elementary career. So Tier 1 is instruction of all students. So our goal is that 80% or so or more of students will meet benchmark with good Tier 1 instruction. And when Mr. Probst spoke about our school improvement plan being with differentiation and dynamic learning experiences, we're providing those experiences to all kids through Tier 1 instruction. PBIS, the Positivity Project, those are socio-emotional learning kind of programs we're providing for all kids. And all teachers are meeting in PLTs at least monthly to talk about student data. So all students are getting those supports. If a student is not quite meeting benchmark with Tier 1 instruction, then they may, I wanted to show you an example of a universal screening letter. Raise your hand, parents, if you've seen this sent home in a child's folder. Okay, so beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of the year, there's a letter sent home, we call him a little running man here, and It's just outlining from M-Class, which is what the state is using for our literacy screening measures, where your child is falling with relation to some of these literacy skills. So this is an example of a first grader, so you can see they felt it needing some support with correct letter sounds, and that hindered their ability to really read those whole words. Now, this is where I'm talking about, I have a lot of training in all these early literacy areas, so I was able to understand what this means. But I would empower you as parents to bring this letter to a parent-teacher conference, or ask the teacher at a teacher conference, you know, what this means if you don't understand. But beginning, middle, and end of the year, these are sent home, and again, that's called universal screenings. Okay, so tier 2 is small group intervention that's more targeted to student need. Progress in the intervention is monitored, and the intervention is changed based on the student's response to that progress monitoring data. Teachers here meet in PLTs, they discuss student data, and they may create what's called a tier 2 intervention plan for your child. And you can see those questions below. What intervention will be provided? What's the frequency, intensity, and duration of the intervention? Who's going to provide it? How will progress be monitored? When will the plan be revisited? All these questions. And the good news is the county is working on, and we really at Swift Creek have gotten to a good standardized approach to answer some of these questions. So if there's a child struggling in reading fluency, we have set interventions we know we provide that work with fluency. And we know for tier 2, kids are going to be receiving at least 30 minutes a week of small group support. And we've really defined those parameters. There's something we call an intervention matrix here. And so that's really exciting that we have some standards around that now. If a child's still not quite responding at that tier 2 level, this is where we might move to more intensive support. And this is going to be a small group of kids, usually about only 5% of kids that really need that intensive intervention. It's very targeted. You might be invited, you will be invited to a tier 3 meeting to help develop a tier 3 plan for your child. And it's really important, we really want at this point in time to have input from other specialists in the building. And the idea, it kind of cut it off at the bottom, is the student eventually moves back to just needing that tier 2 level of support, and then eventually, you know, is okay meeting benchmark with just 4. So the idea is that they're not staying in this, in that area of red. So here's an example intervention plan, and I wanted to just point out at the top, it says tier 2, so you see this is an example of a tier 2 plan, and it tells you the intervention and all the information about the intervention, and then it gives you the progress monitoring data here below. So this was for a math plan. All tier 2 plans are sent home, so you should see a copy of this. And like I said, for tier 3, you would actually be part of that meeting, and you of course would receive this information too. So MTSS really encourages parent-teacher collaboration. It's about every ed, regular ed kids, students with limited English proficiency, academically